Eurobooks presents Confessions of a Taxi Driver, written by Tommy Dee and published in collaboration with Eurobooks. Step into the male minds and the darkest sexual fetishes they hold, an insight into what truly goes behind closed doors and the darkest sexual exploit of neighbors self-defined as the normal people next door. It peels back the lid for the first time on everything you ever wanted to know about the lives of those who have affairs, how they get caught, why men have to cheat. This novel reveals the confessions of those who work in the red light business. Read their stories, learn their sexual tips and tricks. Today, on Conoscere TV, we have the chance to interview the author of this book, Tommy Dee. Welcome to Conoscere TV, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
And thank you very much for the interview.
Tell us something more about your new published book, please. What is Confession of a Taxi Driver about?
Well, I read Lady Chatterley's Lover a long, long time ago, and ironically, it was produced by an Italian company in 1928. And like 50 Shades of Grey or like The Commitments, they were all fictional, but yet they depicted a society that was about people. Confessions of a Taxi Driver is totally true. Ironically, I never thought a publishing house would ever publish that book because there is so much eroticism in it, there's so much promiscuity, there's so much decadence, but yet it was life back in when I was a very young man.
So we have talked about the book, okay. Now I'd like to know something more around Tommy Dee. Who's Tommy Dee? What's his story?
When I was 20 years of age, I had to get a job and I had to lie about my age because I wanted to go into the taxi industry. And so I forged my PSV driver's license. I can't be done now, it's too old. And I became a taxi driver at 20. The normal age was around 40. So I used to carry passengers and I used to keep notebooks, copybooks, and I'd write down their stories because I didn't mix with other taxi drivers. I would just write down their stories. And then ultimately those stories over the years became almost volumes of people's lives, from the ordinary person down to the most bizarre thing that would happen to me.
Okay, and who's the target public for this book? Who would you address this reading to?
I think basically it is focused on women. I think some of the characters women would particularly understand and probably empathize with. I think from my perspective, very young, I also had to pretend I was gay when I was driving a taxi back in 1980. So for obvious reasons. So I got to know a lot of the ladies of the night. I got to know every red light district in Dublin. So I think basically any person who has found the likes of The Commitments or Lady Chatterley's Lover or even 50 Shades of Grey, if they found interest in that, which were fictional, they'd certainly find this book, which is totally about real people and their incredible lives.
So when did you decide then to publish the book and why?
I didn't think, as I said, that I would get a publishing house to publish it. And I was waiting for the right time for such a book that exposes the most intimate aspect of humanity. And we've always wanted to know what goes on in a confessional. Well, a taxi was a mobile confessional, and the stories that people told me, ordinary people, it was absolutely bizarre. And as you read the book, you will find tremendous amount of promiscuity and decadence, and it exposes what life is truly like. So I think every person, regardless of age, I think women will appreciate Gorgeous George. I think, unlike any other book of sex, I think if every guy actually reads the book, they might make a lot of women very happy.
I personally think it's very interesting and varied on a human level. You know, it shows the truth of society, the darkest truth of society too, sometimes. So we want to wish you very good luck with your book, and thank you again for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you.
This is a tale of the not-so-conservative 80s as revealed by Dublin's youngest taxi driver that chronicled 20 years of the mystifying and decent lives of his passenger and his fellow taxi drivers. Confessions of a Taxi Driver by Tommy Dee is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Eurobooks.